Good afternoon everyone, and welcome to today's video on man's best friend, dogs. As anyone who has owned or been around dogs knows, they can bring us so much joy with their playful antics and endearing expressions. One thing many of us wonder about though is whether dogs actually smile in the same way humans do. Well, today we're going to dive into the science behind dog expressions to find out if those puppy grins really mean they're happy. First, it's important to understand that a dog's smile is quite different from a human smile. We smile to express happiness, but also other emotions like embarrassment, awkwardness, or joking around. A dog's mouth position is more directly linked to its emotional and physical state. While they don't grin intentionally like us, dogs do use facial muscles to signal emotions in ways similar to our expressions. Let's start by looking at a few common dog smiles and what psychologists believe they represent. One display often mistaken for a smile is the panting grin, where a dog holds its mouth open while breathing heavily. This isn't actually a smile but rather a natural response to heat or exercise as dogs pant to cool off. Their tongue may hang out, which some see as a relaxed expression. However, this pant is simply a mechanism to regulate body temperature, not an emotional reaction. Another display is the submissive grin, where a dog shows its teeth while averting its gaze and eyes. Unlike a pant, this is a social signal meant to convey friendliness to other dogs. By baring its teeth in a non-threatening way, a submissive dog tries to diffuse tension and reassure the other it means no harm. This is a learned solicitation behavior rather than a reflection of emotion. The closest thing dogs have to a true smile is sometimes called a relaxed open mouth. In this position, dogs gently part their lips in a wider than usual manner, holding it for a few seconds. Studies suggest this stems from puppy behavior and represents a content, happy state. While not identical to a human smile, this mouth position seems linked to positive feelings rather than physical triggers. So in summary, panting, submissive grins and relaxed open mouths can mimic a smile in appearance, but they serve different purposes than a human grin. True dog smiles from positive emotion are subtle and brief. But what about their interactions with us? Do dogs ever smile at people? Let's explore some theories about canine expressions. It's been proposed that through the long history of domestication, dogs developed skills to understand human emotions and behavior. We selectively bred them based on friendliness towards people for thousands of years. As a result of this evolutionary pressure, dogs became extremely talented at reading human cues. Studies show they can distinguish smiling from frowning faces and even detect fake from genuine smiles. This ability allows dogs to interpret if their owners are happy, angry, or displeased based on facial expressions alone. Over time, they learned that human smiles often predict reward like praise, play, or food. So some scientists believe dogs may start displaying relaxed mouth poses in response to their person's happiness as a form of social feedback or rapport building. Essentially, seeing us smile triggers a conditioned, low-level smile-like reaction. However, it's also important to note dogs don't understand the full concept and meaning behind a smile like people do. Their responses are guided more by past experience than emotional mimicry. One dog may grin at its owner's smiles while another ignores facial cues completely. Their reactions depend on individual personality and learning history with humans. And as mentioned before, true dog smiles are usually very brief and subtle, unlike our long-lasting grins. While dogs lack complex ideas of pleasure and embarrassment like us, their facial expressions do incorporate clues about mood. So even if they aren't joyful per se when smiling, dogs arguably find relaxed mouth poses less stressful than tight-lipped stances associated with negative experiences. In this way, their version of a smile fundamentally differs from ours yet still holds social significance to canine communication. So in summary, dogs don't consciously mirror human expressions the way we once thought. However, through their keen ability to interpret our body language over generations of interactions, Some dogs developed conditioned responses involving brief relaxed mouth poses when perceiving human pleasure. While not truly smiles, these poses demonstrate how dogs adapted to understand and operate within our social rules during domestication. Their facial signals still carry informative emotional hints, even if the experience behind them remains inherently canine rather than human. With this background in mind, let's examine some other common questions people have about dogs and smiling. First off, do dogs ever smile at each other? As social animals, dogs rely heavily on body language signals to navigate relationships. When interacting with other canines, they use facial cues alongside vocal tones and postures to express dominance, submission, friendliness, and warnings depending on context. However, their mouth poses carry deeper instinctual meanings than human smiles. Things like relaxed mouths, panting, and submissive grins in inter-dog exchanges communicate status and intent rather than joy. Fundamentally, canine communication aims to resolve social standing, whereas human smiles often reinforce bonds. Another frequent inquiry is whether dogs smile more when people smile at them. As covered, some dogs do seem to display very brief relaxed mouth responses to their owner's happiness based on conditioning. However, these smiles likely don't indicate actual shared positive affect, they represent learned proxies for attention and rewards dogs associate with human pleasure. Not all dogs exhibit even subtle grins, and reactions vary greatly between individuals and breeds depending on genetics and upbringing. A related myth is that guilty dogs smile to appease people after misbehaving. In reality, the submissive grin we may see actually means the opposite. It's a sign of contrition and appeasement, not shared cheer. By communicating non-threatening intent through averting eyes and bared teeth, dogs try to preempt aggression from dominant pack members, including humans. So a submissive pose conveys regret, not a duplicitous facade of joy. Another frequent idea is that dogs smile most when their owners smile at them. While affectionate bonds undoubtedly form between pets and people over play, training, and bonding experiences, it's important to remember the limited scope of a dog's emotional intelligence. Their smiles stem more from superficial response learning than a human capacity for emotional parity. Individual dogs display great variation in how or if they acknowledge human facial cues based on complex personality factors we can't always discern. And finally, how can you tell if a tail-less dog is truly happy without a smile? Dog body language provides a wealth of cues beyond facial expressions alone. A content canine will usually hold its head and tail high with alert, bright eyes. Its ears point forward and its posture remains relaxed rather than stiff or hunched. Dogs play bow, nip, and bound around when feeling frisky. Overall vitality, curiosity about surroundings, and enthusiasm for interacting with loved ones indicate positivity, much like smiles for us. Paying close attention lets dogs express themselves through more than just mouth poses. In conclusion, while dogs don't truly smile like people, their subtle facial signals offer valuable hints into feelings shaped by both instincts and learning. Through history living intertwined with humans, dogs developed skills to parse our emotions that fostered bonded relationships. Their mouth poses communicate in nuanced ways according to context, even if devoid of the complexity behind a smile. With patience and care, we can learn to understand our canine companions, whether they appear jovial or solemn, through observation of full body comportment, not simply faces. Their expressions hold meaning, just differently than for people, and that duality makes the bond between dogs and their favorite humans all the more remarkable. I hope this look at the science of puppy grins offered useful insights into man and dog's long friendship. Thank you for listening.